What's up, YouTube friends? So I asked for some video suggestions in the last video, and I was asked to do a plate cozy next. So that's just what we're going to do today. The things you're going to need to make one of these pie cozies are 2 pieces of cotton fabric that measure 13 inches squared, 2 pieces of cotton batting that measure 13 inches squared, and if you plan on putting these in the microwave, you also want some cotton thread. As always, the first thing I did was make a template. This is very similar to our pie ice cream cozy that we made last week. So I had to tape a couple pieces of cardstock together. This is a 13-inch square. I then found the middle on all of my sides at 6.5 inches, and I came down 3 inches. From that center point, I then came over a 1/2 inch on either side and then made a rectangle. And then I'm just going to mark on here dinner plate cozy. Just so I remember. Next, we're just going to take a piece of our batting and one of our pieces of fabric. We're going to line it up so that the right side is facing up. Next, I'm just going to throw a couple pins around the side just so nothing moves when we quilt this together. And then I'm just going to do the same thing with my other pieces. And now you just want to quilt these pieces together. I'm going to make it really easy, and I'm just going to do a line corner to corner. So I have my friction pin. So I'm just going to draw a line from corner to corner on both sides, on both pieces of my fabric. And if you'd like to order some of these friction pins, I use them all the time. I do have them linked on my Amazon storefront in my sewing essentials section. So now we're just going to take this over to our sewing machine, and I'm just going to quilt this right on the lines with a straight stitch. So I'll be using black thread today just so you guys can see it, but if you want to, just use a coordinating thread. My stitch length is a 2.5 to a 3, somewhere around there. And I'll be using a straight stitch. Like I said, there's no need to backstitch at this point. And just keep sewing. Just like that. So now we're just going to remove our pins and grab our template. And with my friction pin, I'm just going to trace these triangles. And you want to do that to both pieces of your fabric. Now we're just going to fold our fabric pieces in half with the right sides touching. Make sure there's not a little crease right here by our triangle. Now our little marks should line up, which mine pretty much do, and then I'm just going to throw a pin. I'm going to do that to both of my fabrics. And the important thing is to make sure there's no crease or anything right here at the fold. So just like that. Now I'm just going to take this back over to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew directly on the line. This time I will backstitch at the beginning and the end. And you want to do that to all of your pieces. So I like to start on the fold and backstitch. And then backstitch at the end. Next, I'm just going to grab my pinking shears. There's really not a whole lot to cut off here, but I'm just going to cut off a little bit just to reduce some bulk. Then we're just going to open it up, fold it the other way, and do the exact same thing. So now you should have two squares that look like this. Next, we're going to lay them right sides together. So one right on top of the other one. So I like to start right here on our seams that we just sewed. I'm going to alternate my two seams and then stick a pin. So one on the bottom is going this way and the one on the top is going this way. I'm going to do that to all four sides. So then I just like to go around to one of the sides that matches up evenly. This is the best one for me, and I'm going to leave a 4-inch opening. So I'm just going to mark it with my friction pin and then stick a couple pins. And then I'm just going to go around and stick a pin in each one of the four corners, just so nothing moves. So just like that. This will be my opening. So now I'm just going to take this back over to my sewing machine. I'm going to start right here at this pin and backstitch. And then I'm just going to sew all the way around with a 1/4-inch seam allowance until I get to my final pin and backstitch. So I'm just going to run the edge of my fabric with the edge of my presser foot. It's a pretty fat 1/4 inch, but I'm okay with that. You want to make sure that you get all of your fabric sewn into this seam. So I'm going to backstitch at the beginning. I'm coming up to my corner, so I'm going to stop on my stitches with my needle down, raise my presser foot and spin, and then just keep sewing. So I'm coming up to my final pin. And then I'm going to backstitch. So now I'm just going to come up to my points and clip the corners to reduce some bulk. And now's a good time to come and clip all your thread tails. And now we're just going to find our opening and we're going to turn this right sides out. And this is a lot easier than that pint ice cream cozy. And now with a bone folder or a chopstick, I'm just going to poke out my corners carefully and make sure that my seams are nice and flat. Now I'm just going to take this over to my ironing board and give the edge a nice press. For my opening here, I just like to stick my fingers in there, give it a little tug, and it should fold up nicely. And then I'm just going to stick a pin. Now finally I'm going to take this back over to my sewing machine and I'm going to top stitch all the way around the edge, back stitching at the beginning and the end to close up our little opening. So this time I bumped up my length to a 3. I'm going to move my needle over to the right and I'm going to back stitch. And I'm just going to run my fabric right along this little line on my presser foot. And just like before, I'm going to stop with my needle down. I'm about an 1/8 inch away from my edge. Raise my presser foot and spin, and then just keep sewing. I'm coming up to my end here, so don't forget to backstitch. And just that fast and easy, our dinner plate cozy is finished. Now I have a 10-inch plate here, and it fits perfectly, just like that. You could even probably do a little bit of a bigger plate. I hope you give this video a try. If you like this video and want to see more of my videos, go down below, hit that big red subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, and if you have a question about this video or any future video ideas, leave me a comment. And as always, thanks for watching, happy sewing, and I'll see you next time.